Good morning. It's Make It Happen Monday, and it's those who don't know, I'm Cheryl Andrews. I'm the listening detective, and this show is all about the tools, resources, and support that you need to make it happen, whatever it may be for you. But today we've got something a bit different. I'm very, very excited to have a guest because one of the things that I've realised in order to make this show happen, I would much rather be the listening detective and ask questions to understand how other people make it happen than having to keep thinking of things to say. Because my thing is doing the listening so that people can get clarity of what they want and the confidence to make it happen. And I have been finding that the Monday motivation videos take an awful lot of brain power because I'm trying to think of something really clever to say. So I've decided from 2022 that's not going to happen. However, a very good friend of mine happened to just mention over the weekend, would anyone interview me? And I thought, well, let's make it happen. So that's what we're going to do. I'm going to bring on my great friend Dominic Fenton. If you'd like to give him a warm welcome and say hi, please comment in the box if you're with us live. And Dom, thanks for joining us today.
Thank you very much, Cheryl. How are you?
I'm very good, thank you. Very good. Very excited to be talking to you today. So we want to talk about, first of all, about making it happen, because you are somebody that's out there. I would call it, my metaphor would be rocking and rolling. You know, you're really out there running around, making sure that you make a difference in people's lives. So tell us a little bit about what it is that you're making happen right now.
Well, so at the moment, I tend to work with children and young people. I do that all over the UK. I'm also now an international speaker as well, which is a little bit crazy, if I'm completely honest. Having did an event for International Men's Day last week.
Yeah.
So I was talking to people in Nigeria, South Africa, America, which was really, really weird. But hey, it happens. It was making it happen.
Yeah.
But also, I'm now just launched a crowdfunder for a brand new mental health program that is going to support children and young people, families, and to reduce isolation as much as possible.
Fabulous. Now, I do want to know more about that, but I just want to wing back a little bit back to the activity connector and what you do with young people. So tell us a little bit about that, and then we can find out what the relationship is, or the connection is between that and this crowdfunding.
Yeah, so I run sports events for special needs children through a charity. I also mentor children and young people who are struggling with their low-level mental health issues, and look at how we can get them into sport, look at how we can get them into hobbies to increase confidence. And I also deal with children and parents where children are falling into gangs, and trying to raise awareness of the signs and symptoms to stop falling into gangs.
And we're obviously Make It Happen motivator as well. We've talked about that before. What is it that motivates you to do this kind of work, Don?
The thing that motivates me is to be someone that I didn't have growing up. So I was bullied as a child. I was fortunate. I found sport, but I know that I didn't have many people to talk to, and I want to be that person for young people, or for teachers, for parents. I'm a single dad, so yeah, I want to be someone that people can turn to and ask for support and help, and I can signpost them into the right directions.
Fabulous. So tell us a little bit about this crowdfunding and the program that you hope to launch with this crowdfunding. And
Yeah,
we are in the chat box as we're talking.
So basically, I wrote it 6 years ago. Never did anything about it. Came partly one of it was coming on your program as well, and also someone mentioned that now is the time to get things happening. It was like on the back of a little cigarette packet. You know, it's like you write little notes. I'd gone through a lot of isolation 6 years ago. Felt what needed to happen, wrote it down, and we're launching pilots in 2022. And the more people I talk to about it, the more like we need it now. So yeah, I'm making it happen.
And your vision for this program, if it was just the way you'd like it to be, it'd be like what?
It would be an inclusive program that's free for people to attend, and would reduce the
We seem to have lost
Wait,
Dom there. Sorry, Dom.
can you hear me?
Lost a bit. We lost the bit. It would reduce.
Can you hear me?
Quite I can now. And
Yeah,
we've lost
it would reduce. Go on.
No, that's it. That's as
Technically,
far as I got.
don't you love the internet?
Well, we're very keen to listen, aren't we? So we're patient and we're waiting. So the last word I've heard is reduce. It would reduce.
It would reduce the waiting list for children's mental health services. So it would reduce the number of children that are having to wait for too long to get support.
Mm-hmm. And my understanding is you're going to be working with therapists, and it also you also bringing in the sports side of it. How is it going to work?
So the first hour is going to be sports activities or music activities or drama activities, and they are going to be doing those as a family.
Yeah.
And then the second hour of the program will be the children that are struggling will be having group therapy, and then their families will also be having group therapy. And it's about building a network together and building a community where they can support each other.
Fabulous. And I have put a link in the comments below. So it's gone out on YouTube and Facebook. I don't think LinkedIn does it because some don't work like that. But it is also in the comments. So, and I put it on the bottom here. So it's crowd therapy. So you're looking to raise, I think, is it 2,000 or 2,500 for this first pilot? And then you're going to be able to.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah,
please,
2,500.
We've got some really good pauses coming in. We've now got 2 people live. So please, anybody that's watching live today, please let us know whether you can hear us okay, because it would be really funny if 2 really great listeners can't be heard. Now, you did mention, and you just touched on the fact that you did the 7-day Makeup and Motivator in September. I do want to use today's recording to just let people know the next 7-day Makeup and Motivator is happening on the 29th of Tina Mayfield is here joining us. Good morning, Tina. Lovely to see you. I'm just going to put the 7-day Makeup and Motivator in the comments as well. But tell us a little bit about that for you. That 7-day Makeup and Motivator for you, Dom, was like what?
So it was basically when we were actually in a meeting, and we were talking about and I actually have I gone again? Am I back on now?
So you're back now. You're back now. So I heard 7-day Make It Happen. You were in a meeting and you actioned.
I actioned because I needed clarity in what I was doing. I needed to understand further what I do and why I do it. And basically, the 7-day program enabled me to get a deeper understanding of why I do what I do, and who I was and how I communicate it. And it was a very, very powerful 7 days for me.
And that deeper understanding of yourself and why you do what you do, what difference does knowing that make?
It gives me an understanding of why I do things, why I react to things, but also then what I want to achieve in the future as well. Because actually, by understanding that and having more clarity on that, it enables me to be clearer in my message to people, so they can really get to know who I am, and I can continue that work as well.
And what's the impact been of having that clarity?
There's a much more. Certainly the clarity gives me a much more confidence, self-awareness, sort of an inner self-confidence that I knew was there, but I didn't know how to bring it out.
Sorry, it just warms the cockles of my heart, because it's there, isn't it, inside of us? But people just don't understand sometimes that you need something or someone outside to stimulate it for you to actually hear and understand what is already within you. And I just think in the age of information, like you say at the moment with mental health, in the age of information, there is so much stuff out there that people are almost trolling, trying to find the thing that's going to activate and tell them that how they think and feel inside is correct. Whereas actually, if they had somebody who could just really, really listen and reflect them back to them, they would already know that they are enough, that who they are right now is amazing. No, you've frozen, so I have no idea whether you've heard anything I've just said.
I heard, I did hear all that. I did hear all of that. And it's about self-belief. It's about self-belief and self-confidence and actually knowing you are good enough, because there are
So I've heard, and I hope you're going to come back in a moment, that I've heard that you are good enough, and it is about self-confidence. And we're having some pause. Now, Tina says she can hear. So I don't know. Maybe Tina can hear you, and it's me that can't hear you, and everybody else can hear you. So that'll be interesting to notice what I've caught and what I haven't caught. And for you, where does that self-confidence and that self-belief come from?
It comes from a place of purpose. It comes from a place of, because I've always had self-doubt. I've always had people try to put me down. And for me, I've always had that inner ability to know I'm good enough at certain things. But actually, for me now, I know I'm good enough. I know why I'm doing things. And by having that purpose-driven motivation to be someone that I didn't have and to be there for my daughters and everyone else, that's where it comes from. And I know I'm good enough. And I am good enough.
Fabulous. Well, you know from the programme that the first principle of motivated action has been determined as purpose. You know why, and you know who you're doing it for, and then there's a process. And I know that for you, it's definitely about collaboration, because hence you're really good at asking for help, which is not something that... So where does it come from, this ability to ask for help? Because I know that many people, including me, I've had to really work at that. Tina's letting us know it's now coming across really clearly, and so we have been staggered, but we're now clear. I know that this asking for help. So where does it come from, this ability to ask for help, Dom?
I suppose for me, I've been rock bottom, and I know the only way I could get out of being at rock bottom was by asking for help. But also I know that by working together in collaboration with people, we can achieve so much more. Yeah. I want to impact the world. I want to impact as many people all over the world as I can. I'm not going to do that on my own. So I need to be reaching out. I need to look at how I can support other people as well. And together we can, you know, the strap, it's corny, but the strap line for the crowdfunder is tackling isolation together. Together is that big word.
Yeah. And it is interesting, isn't it? Because I think when you've got big goals or big visions, it's kind of obvious that you're going to need more help because you can't reach everybody on your own. But sometimes a little problem can feel massive. And because it's maybe perceived as little, then... Sorry, I've just got a warning come up from StreamYard, and I'm trying to listen and talk and read that. I'm just going to put go live and see what happens. I have no idea where we are. What was I saying? So if you've got a little problem that feels big, I think that's when it can sometimes be harder, isn't it, to ask for help, because you feel, because it seems like it should be easy and you should be able to just do it. So what works for you if you've got, you know, in amongst this big vision and big goal, if you've got little things that are feeling hard for you, what works for you?
Just controlling what you can, because I think a lot of it is the fact is we'll have these little goals, and I'm not clever enough to do a lot of things. I know what I'm good at, so if there are problems that I know, if I know there's things that other people can help me with, then I'll ask for help. Because the trouble is, if you're on your own, I keep on hearing it stop, and then I stop.
You're here.
You don't want to be a burden on people, which is why so many people feel isolated. because you think if you ask for help, you become a burden to someone else, but you're not. People won't always know.
We're just going to wait for him to come back.
So by asking for, if you're, I'm here. I'm here.
I know. So
I know. It's fine.
If you ask for help, and then you said people won't always know is the last bit I caught.
Yeah. So people won't always know that you need help. So the only way you can do it is by reaching out. But you need to get away from that fear of feeling a burden to people. That's why isolation is so massive in this country. That's why isolation around the world is so big.
Yeah. Yeah, it's one of those. And I think the other thing I know from talking to clients is that sometimes you ask for help. Maybe I see it from people, they tend to only ask maybe their significant other half, and that's the only person. But that person isn't the best person. They're not resourced, or they don't have the skills or the confidence or whatever it might be to help with that particular thing. Or you have asked several people and you haven't got the help that you wanted, because it does take huge courage, doesn't it, to ask for help. And I think when you don't get it quickly and instantly and it works, it takes courage then to keep going. Because even with mental health, I'm sure that when you have your group of therapists, you're going to find that some therapists work for some people and some don't, just because of our pitch of our voice, our accents, our speed that we talk, all of those sorts of things. Maybe our story and our journey will resonate with some people and they won't resonate with other people. And I guess that there's that first step then, is that courage to ask and getting over this thing of thinking you're a burden. And my thing would be is also having the support in place to keep asking until you get the help that works for you, because not everything will work the first time. And that's the hardest part of the process, I think. There was another question there, but I think you've frozen now again. So I'm going to wait for Dom to come back and take that moment to pause. I'd love to know from you, especially if Tina is still with us. Asking for help for you is like what? What's worked for you? Please share so other people can do it. One of the things that really for me, hi Dom, I knew if I kept talking for a little while, what I wanted to say was what the biggest telling point for me was to remember. Dom is very much this person, is that I love helping. And when I flipped it on my head and realised that if I don't ask people for help, then I'm actually depriving them of doing what brings them joy. Because I remember I love helping, and actually by not asking people for help, I stop us from having that potential of collaborating, having a sense of connection, a sense of purpose, something that we're doing together. And I was quite good at paying people for help. What I wasn't very good at was just asking friends to give me a hand with things, something that wasn't paid for. But it's been transformational for me on my journey to actually learn, and I'm still a bit of work in progress. And I know Dom and I have talked about this before, that it's great being the helper, but I think it's also about allowing yourself to be helped, because otherwise it becomes a one-way track and somebody is carrying all the load. And that, I wonder if that's part of it. That's just I've just externalized my thoughts. I wonder if that's why we think it's a burden to others, because if we keep helping without asking for help, eventually being asked to help people feels like a bit of a burden. So therefore we assume it's a burden for other people. Whereas actually, if we all were speaking up, I'm an external processor for those that haven't met me yet. I didn't know the answer to that question, and I was just working out in my head. What's your thoughts, Dom, on that?
I think part of whatever problem we go through, you can guarantee someone's actually gone through it before, and there's going to be someone who's gone through it afterwards. But the problem is when we get isolated and things like that, we think we're the only one going through it at the time. But what we also have is that concept that everyone else has got their own problems. So by us reaching out, we're just adding to their problems as well, which is why most of us keep stuff inside and say, look, I'll deal with it on my own. But not everything you can deal on your own. No. And I think the more we can get back to opening up, the more we can get to a point where we reach out to our friends and we reach out to other people. Because I reach out to some friends, I don't reach out to all of them.
No,
Partly that's because I know the reaction I'll get as well.
Yeah, and I think it's important to remember that sometimes when other people have got challenges going on, asking them for help can actually provide a healthy distraction for them. So I know I can think of some times when friends have been grieving, you know, they're absolutely heartbroken, but actually having some purpose and having some meaning to their life and feeling that they have a value and they can make a difference in somebody else's life. So it's so very easy. And I think the question I'd say to people is you have to ask questions and just say, give people an out. Just say, like, I really need some help with this. It's okay if you say no, because I've got other people I can ask. And if you haven't, just tell them, because then the criteria and the priority is different. But if you're really worried about giving people being a burden, is say what's going on and give them an option as to whether or not, you know, have you got the time for it? Because I think it's easy, otherwise you just don't ask. And we have no idea sometimes how important it is for other people to feel needed. I know there's some conversations that changed in my family. I realised my independence made them feel like I didn't need them and they weren't wanted. And so by actually asking for help or asking for their opinion and getting that input, it's changed the whole dynamic of the relationships. I know that Tina's put in the chat box, I'm happy helping others and still struggle to ask for help. And so given that, Tina, what would you like to have happen? You know the question. And what might be the very first step? And what's your, Dom, what do you think the very first thing that needs to happen for somebody who's feeling isolated? They feel like they're a burden, but they are stuck and they're feeling low. They've got a problem they can't solve on their own. What is the very first thing that needs to happen?
I would say the very first thing that would need to happen mentally is that moment to go, right, I need help. I can't do it, because a lot of us, we know that we need help, but we won't admit it. So the first thing to say is that, yeah, right, I need help. And then what I do, I then write down what I need help with, because once it's in paper, once it's written down, I can see it.
Do you know, that's so important. It's so important to actually know what you need help with, don't you? Because I think that's often the question, what would you like to have happen, helps people work out what they want. Because I think if you just go and talk to people about the problem, then often it's like going shopping, saying, I don't want cheese, I don't want bread, I don't want eggs. So people will listen with compassion, but there's very little that they can physically do apart from holding that space and listening. Whereas if you said, what I'd like to have happen is this, or this is the problem that I need to solve, and what I want to have happen is to solve the problem, it gives people an outcome focused, it's a solution focused conversation, which often is, people can either say, I don't know how to help with that, or they can say, I can help, or I can help you work out how you're going to get the help, even though it's not me. So if you can focus on what you want to have happen, or identify the problem. It's funny, actually, because I was talking to somebody last week and talking about masterminds when they asked the question, what's your greatest challenge? I can't answer that question. Because even though I have problems, don't get me wrong, I'm not perfect. My brain just will not admit that I have a challenge or a problem. It's almost like it's conditioned for me to be like solution focused. But if you ask me to list everything that's working, I'll tell you everything that's not. So that at least I now know if I'm really struggling, I have to write down everything, go try and make myself write down everything that's working. And then it will stimulate, because my negative voice will go, yeah, but you haven't done this, you haven't done that, you haven't got this, you don't do this. And then I can get those things out. And then I can go, what would I like to have happen, given that's what's not working? So I hope from today's call, I'm going to leave the call in a minute, Don, where we just do a little bit of a coaching session at the end of today's call with our viewers. So I want to say thank you very much for joining us. I will just pop the thing up again on the screen. So you've got the crowdfunding here. Please check it out, because I will be definitely working alongside Dom and making sure that people are not feeling isolated. I was there myself. It's a horrible feeling. I was a mums and daughter relationship coach who needed help with mums and daughter relationships, and just thought I must be the only relationship coach on the planet who's having relationship problems. Boy, was I wrong. That was definitely not the case. And actually learning to ask for help was the turning point for me. Dom, I think you've frozen again, but I'm going to wait for you to come back on and just to ask you if you've got anything else you'd like to add before we end the interview today and we just finish with our Make It Happen Monday coaching session. The video's now gone blank. I'm not sure whether you're there, Dom. I will take you off screen for the moment, but if you come, there you are. Is there anything else you'd like to add before we just finish with our coaching session with the viewers and listeners today? Is there anything you want to add, Dom? There's a delay, isn't there? You can't
Just put me out.
put you down. I'm not going to put you down. Right, on that note, I'm going to...
Thank you very much. It just came back. Thank you.
Thank you so much for joining us today, Dom. On this mission,
Thank you.
don't let anyone feel isolated. Please reach out to someone like me or Dom. Come and find us online. Talk to us, because we're the kind of people that we may not be the best help for you, but we are definitely people who like to find out what it is you need help with. And if we don't know how to help you, we will connect you with somebody who might know. And it may take a couple of attempts, and I know the courage it takes to do that, but we would be behind you to make sure during that search for the help you need, you didn't feel alone and isolated. So thanks, Dom.
Thanks very much, Cheryl.
Bye.
Bye.
Right. Right, that brings us to the last bit of Make It Happen. I've just got to work out how to put this on. It is that question we ask every Monday. Let's take that hot ticker tape off the bottom. We don't need that one. No, that's the one we got here, Make It Happen Monday. So, we are Monday. What would you like to have happen? Thinking about, write down the answer, to the question. Once you've got the question, I am all excited now, my brain's all frazzled. Once you've got the answer to the question, notice if you're talking about what you want, or are you talking about what you don't want? Are you talking about what isn't working, or are you talking about what could work better? Now, if you've got an outcome focused answer, so it's the outcome that you want, it's something you want more of, or you want something to be better or whatever, great. Ask yourself a couple of questions to get clarity of what you mean by what you say. What would you like to have, what kind of, is there anything else about that? Got some of the questions behind here. So the ones in purple, what kind of is that? Anything else? Does it have a shape or size? And then once you've got clarity, if you're talking about things you don't want or you want less of, you can try the questions when you don't have it, then what happens? And see whether that changes your focus to an outcome, to what you want. Because if we are talking about the problem or the remedy, we often getting clarity of what the problem is can help for the solution or the outcome to become clearer. But we can often be more efficient and more effective with our clarity if we train our attention from the start to think about what we'd like to have happen rather than what we don't want to have happen. And then once you've got clarity of what you'd like to have happen, think about, how do you need to be? What kind of you is that you in order for that to happen? She says, hitting the table. So I need to be someone that's not sat so close to the table. And again, the same thing, get those qualities. And are you talking about, if you're saying, I need to be confident, or I need to be relaxed, or I need to be patient, or I need to be assertive, or are you talking about what you shouldn't be? I need to be less irritable, I need to be less whatever. So if you've got less than, or you've got things that you're away from, just ask yourself, when you're less irritable or less of something, then what happens? So again, that you're talking about how you will be rather than how you won't be. And again, what kind of is that? Is there anything else about that? The more clarity you get about what you mean by what you say, the easier it is for your own system to give you feedback and identify when progress is being made, when change is happening, and basically let you know that you are okay in this moment right now. And the last thing then to think about is, for you to be like that, and for you to get that outcome that you want, what kind of resource and support might you need? And again, notice, so you talk about what you want or what you don't want. So, I don't want people interrupting me, I don't want people doing that. So when you don't want them interrupting you, then what happens? What is it you want them to be doing? Or what do you want them, what would you like to have happen? And it's not always easy. Our brain is hardwired on a negative bias. So it may well be that you have to get curious about the the nots and the won'ts and not having first, but train yourself to keep checking, you know, when you're not having it, then what happens? Or when it's like that, what would you like to have happen? And the more you can notice what will be happening when it's working and what you'd like to have happen, outcome focused, the easier it is for your own system first and foremost to help you, but also for other people to support and resource you. And as always, if you're really struggling just at this level, you know, I'm here to listen to you, to help you get clarity of what you want and to help you understand what kind of resource and support you need. And sometimes all the resource and support we need is someone to listen, someone to witness who we are right now in this moment, to acknowledge what it is that we're experiencing. Sometimes all we need to do is be able to say, I'm really frustrated or angry. And then once we've expressed it, it's been expelled, we let it go and we can get on and take action. It's definitely one of the reasons I don't like asking for help, is because it's almost as soon as I'm telling someone the problem, I can see their face, my brain goes, oh, I know the solution now. And so it feels like a waste of people's time. And so I wouldn't ask for help and I wouldn't talk to people, but I soon learned through the listening process that actually I need someone to listen to me as an external processor particularly, so that I can get clarity of what I mean by what I say. And that a moment of going, ugh, can be such a relief, and it can get rid of that pent up frustration or emotion or anything that's inside of me, and it can settle my system just because it's a shared experience. I feel less alone, I feel safer, I feel supported, I feel held, and I feel like I can get it done from that point onwards. And my clients talk about that all the time. Very determined, very focused people, but having somebody to hold that space can help you to understand yourself. And sometimes that's all the resource and support you need. So I hope you have a fantastic week this week. Thank you for being with us. I think that Tina has stayed with us all the way through to the end. So I really appreciate your commitment to watching the show today. And I look forward to seeing you at 9 o'clock next Monday for Make It Happen Monday. Take care.